Lead with Legacy, the official podcast of IOL Global. Here, we will explore leadership that outlives titles and trends. Through conversations with faith-based and marketplace leaders, we will discuss integrity, conviction, and purpose. To learn more about us, visit us at iolglobal.com. Hello, and welcome to the Lead with Legacy podcast. This is the official podcast of IOL Global, and we're genuinely grateful for everyone taking their time to share their experiences and their perspectives. Today, we're going to start with a special guest. This is our first podcast. I just want to thank Michael for being on it with us. He got lucky number one. And so I just want to introduce Michael Stinnett, and I'm going to let him kind of give us a preview of who he is and what he does and why he's on the show today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Amanda, for the opportunity to speak with you and IOL Global about leadership and leading with legacy. What a great opportunity to lean in to who we are and what we're called to do. And so excited about that. I'm in medical education and coaching. So I was a minister for 20 years. I was a church planter, did all the things from youth to college to elderly people. I've married them, I've buried them. We've done all the things. And I am so passionate about helping people find their path to flourishing. And I believe that we all have the capacity for more, but we don't all have the tools. And so I want to give people the tools so they can reach just more for themselves.
That is wonderful. I love that. Actually, that was one of my questions for you that I had today, because you state on the Flight 40 site that you guys have for your help that you do with people is that you find people a path to flourishing. So when you think about that in the context of work and leadership, how do you define flourishing?
Yeah, great question. First, flourishing, so there's not like a set definition, right? It's individual. And so we have to find what brings fulfillment for that person. And then we go in and do kind of internal alignment. What are the things that energize you? What are the things that excite you? What are the things that frustrate you, exhaust you? And then we create a path that leans into your energies and your excitement and gives you fulfillment. And I think that if each of us could do those things, we would find more flourishing. And I'm a firm believer, Amanda, that when people flourish, everyone is better.
I agree. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I love that, because I think one of my bigger passions is constantly trying to be better, whether it's I'm educating or I'm learning how to be a better leader, or I'm tapping into those types of things like, what does frustrate me? Because if I know what frustrates me, then I'm going to know better how to deal with that frustration. So I really love that. And I love your passion with it. And I love that you guys are so passionate about helping people do that and move forward in their lives and their careers. So you guys, you have a partner in some of the stuff that you do. And I think he might be on another episode, but we just wanted to talk to you today. But you guys talk about resumes and personal branding as storytelling rather than self-promotion. Why do so many people struggle to name their own value, honestly?
What a great question there too. Why do we struggle to name our own value? Part of that is there are a lot of us, I think, that operate with probably a little bit of false humility, where we are afraid to say that we are good at things, or we're afraid to speak highly of ourselves in a certain way because we feel like it's bragging. And there are just a lot of people who don't like that feeling. The other space, I think, is because we didn't have, we're afraid, or we don't know how to name our value because we didn't have leaders that showed us our value.
Yeah.
We didn't have people in our lives who were pouring into us and helping us do better and helping call out those skills within us. And so one of the things that I love doing as a coach and as a leader is I love digging into people and helping them see their skills. And we'll get to I'm going to answer your question.
That's right.
But it's one of the things that I would have to do is I'd say, Amanda, tell me about some tasks that really energize you, that really excite you. From those tasks, then we would dive in to be like, okay, how do you do those specific things? What are the skills that you use? And then which of those tasks are you frustrated by? Which of those tasks are you motivated by or energized by? And from there, we're able to help people see what they bring to the table, to see what they, I guess, I don't even like bring to the table. I like what they bring to the room.
Mm.
So it's like, what skills, what energies do you bring that make everyone else better? And whenever we can help people with that space, then they begin to see, okay, I can do this thing. And then as through Flight 40 career branding, we help people see, okay, you're good at this thing. You enjoy this thing, this task, this outcome. Now, where in the market is that thing that you can do valued? And then we go pursue work. We go pursue jobs.
I love that. I think one of the biggest lessons learned that I've had over the years is being the type of leader that has people better than them. And I think that what you guys are doing is positioning people to figure out what they're really good at so they can be that better counterpoint. I don't ever want to have people in my organization that don't know that they're empowered to do the things that they're really good at. I'm only good at a certain set of things, right? I can't do
Yeah.
everything, although sometimes I like to think I can. But I think also too, what to speak to what you're saying is it's kind of that imposter syndrome. I know like there was a project I was working on last year and I had a whole bunch of instructors with me and we're doing a bunch of stuff back and forth and they kept going, "Oh, you're a project manager." And I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm just an assistant." And they're like, "No, you are. You're running the project." And I'm like, "What?" And it really took a while for it to hit me that, oh, yeah, like I'm really doing the thing. I had no idea I was really doing it, but I was going through all the motions and I was enjoying it and I was loving it. And it was a lot of fun. I just didn't really know that that's what I was doing. So sometimes it takes a leader to look at you and go, hey, look at what you're doing. You're doing the thing and it's amazing. And so really having people to cheerlead for you and encourage you and tell you, hey, you really are, really good at this. And then also having, the ability to look at yourself and go, I am not good at this. This is not my forte. I need somebody to do this for me. And so that's a huge learning curve, I think, for leaders and learning how to come not just comfortable, but really, really excited about having people that are better than you, that are really, really good at tasks that you might not be so good at, and letting them do it and letting them run with it and watching them just absolutely, like you said, like the word flourish because they love what they're doing. So I love that. I love you guys are doing that.
Yeah, and you've mentioned a couple of words that I want to get into, but first, like your idea here about finding people who are better than you. Like I never want to be best at something. I always want to be learning from somebody and
Yes.
figuring a better way. But my wife is so gifted. She's super talented. She's an interior designer, project manager, all the things, right? And she works for Arkansas State University. She's a campus planner, does a lot of stuff.
Oh, amazing.
I tell her sometimes to like look at your tasks and which are the ones that require you. And then which are the ones that other people could do and allow the other people to do those things so that you can do the things that only you can do. And then
Yes.
you will get those better. And then they will also become better at the things they do through repetition and practice. But then if I could just I'm going to go off on it
Yeah,
here,
absolutely.
get back to the valuing yourself and telling your story. But you mentioned two words that we have to lean into as leaders. And this is about leadership, right? And so you mentioned empowering people and encouraging people. And so a couple of years ago, I was doing monthly leadership meetings with some friends and just something hit me. And I don't know where this came from, but it was the 5E leader, right?
Mm,
Right. Developed this 5E thing. And it was about equip people, empower them, engage them, evaluate them, and encourage them.
I love that.
And so what we did is we started to teach each other about you equip people by giving them the right tools for the task. Then you empower them to do the task. And I think sometimes we get those mixed up, Amanda, and
Yeah.
that creates a lot of frustration because you've probably been there. But when you empower people, but you haven't equipped them,
Yes.
they don't know how to do the thing you've empowered them to, and they hit a level of frustration that will make them recoil and feel like they don't have enough ability.
You are so right in that. Yeah.
So we equip them first, then we empower them to do the task, then we engage with them as they do the task. What do you need? How is it going? How can I support? That's the engagement process. Then we evaluate. All right, how did it go? What improvements can we make? And then we encourage them so that they
Yeah.
keep going. And then we start the cycle again.
I love it. I
And
absolutely love it. I'm going to steal it. And I think I think I do a fairly good job at modeling that as well. I've learned, I've had the unique opportunity to have some phenomenal leaders in my life who have really taught me well. And I really hope and pray that I can do a very good job at leading that way. What's so exciting about this podcast is that we get to sit here and talk to amazing people like you with these ideas and these frameworks that we can take away and become better and better and better leaders. And it's a constantly evolving process, right? We have to learn every day. One of the things that I shared with the lady that's working with me is like, if you really hate something, like if I give you a task to do and you hate it, I still need you to do it, but I want you to communicate to me that that's really not the thing that I love to do. We might still have to do it for a while, but we can work into finding, the right person to do those things. So I
Yeah.
love that. I love the fact that you put in there to evaluate, because we all need to evaluate. And as leaders, we need to be going to our people and going, hey, let's evaluate this. Because I don't ever want somebody to sit there and do a job that they hate doing, because we've kind of all been there, right? Like I've done it, and probably made me a better person to an extent and maybe a better leader too. But I don't want somebody sitting there working for me in my organization that is miserable in what they're doing. And if I am not evaluating, the situation and for them and asking the right questions and giving them the ability to have that freedom to speak about it, I want people to be able to say, hey, yeah, I really don't like this. I'll do it, but I really don't, if we could figure it out later.
Yeah, I think that's the key to like evaluation, right? Is the feedback piece. And it's about asking questions rather than making statements.
Yeah.
And so when I evaluate, I want to get your thoughts on how it went. I want to get your understanding of what happened, what didn't happen, and what could improve before I give you mine. Because I don't need you to see evaluation as punitive or as corrective every time. I need you to see evaluation as a collaborative effort to improve.
Yes.
And not to improve. And granted, we want to improve people, but if I come at you with the mindset to improve you, you could often feel like you're not enough, or you could feel valued. But if I come at you and like, hey, how can we improve this project? How can we improve this outcome through evaluation? Then we can encourage. And I've just seen it work.
Yeah. That's beautiful. I love it.
To buy in a little bit more. I was talking with some leaders last week, and it was about, I encouraged them to be people focused rather than decisions focused. Lead your people, care for your people, and the decisions will come. But if we focus on the decisions, then we will sometimes forget the people, or we'll get frustrated with the people. But like you said, with the lady that works with you, you asked like, hey, if you don't like something, or if you hate something, if it exhausts you, frustrates you, whatever, we may have to do it for a while, but I need to know that that's not your thing so that I don't keep giving you that. And that's in Patrick Lencioni's book, The 6 Types of Working Genius. He talks a lot about that, is about like working in your space of excellence. And that's so important. So great work.
It is so important. Yeah, like I said, like I've done plenty of work and plenty of jobs in my life that I didn't necessarily like. Still, I'm a pretty high performer, so I'm still able to get the thing done. But where's the fulfillment? And I think I'm to a point in my life now where I'm kind of like moving into this phase of, not only do I want to be able to do the work that I love doing, but I want other people that are going to be in my organization to be able to do the work that they love to do too. And it's a shift too, because sometimes we get in the mindset just as human beings. I think that I just got to do the thing to make a paycheck. Well, yeah, you got to make a paycheck, right? We got to pay our bills. It's important, but let's enjoy to the best ability that we can, right? The work that we're doing, and not just only for like the C levels. Like we shouldn't just say, oh, only the high ups get to enjoy what they do. No, we should all really, there's a place for everybody, right? And we can all enjoy. And I think that brings up another point too, to kind of go a little bit down a rabbit hole, is we have to learn to find joy in what we're doing. And it's not always just the fairy tale of like, oh, I get to do this. This is the most, sometimes we have to find that joy, and sometimes it doesn't come right away. But if we work at it and we train ourselves and we educate ourselves, we'll get better at something. And we might find that the thing that we didn't like is the thing that now we really, really enjoy doing. So sometimes it's a mindset shift of, I'm not going to, be down in the dumps like, oh, I hate doing this. It's more like, I'm going to find joy in this, even though I don't really like doing it.
Yeah, I think that's super valuable. And most of us, if we were to change environment for a moment, we would understand this. So here's what I mean is I don't enjoy driving through crazy rain, like torrential downpours. I don't enjoy it. But I've been on my way to the beach for vacation and had to drive through it. But in order to get where I wanted to go, I had to go through this little time of suffering, affliction, whatever,
Right.
frustration, discouragement, all that. But in order to get to the other thing, you have to go through that
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And so it's what I told my son just the other day. He was really frustrated by something. And I said, don't let a temporary frustration lead to a permanent frustration.
Yeah.
And we often let temporary distractions lead us to making permanent decisions. That's not okay. But again, that's like, that can be like where we have to lead ourselves is we have to learn how to lead ourselves well. And that goes back to like the stories that we tell ourselves and things like that. So that's one of the reasons that I'm so passionate about helping people develop their path to flourishing. Like
Yeah.
we have to tell ourselves a different story.
Well, how can I, be a good leader if I'm not leading myself well? I think, because most of us could look back throughout our lives. I'm old now, so I have a lot of looking back to do. And so I could look back and go, this particular person really, really cared about themselves, wasn't haughty about it, but really was a good leader because they knew who they were, what they wanted to do, where they were going, and cared about themselves enough to take care of themselves. And I mean that from a broad perspective, but I could also look back and see some leaders that I had and go, they were not starting with themselves. I mean, in our house we live with a bit of a, I don't know if it's a philosophy or what you want to call it, but we put God first. And we teach our kids, you got to love yourself, because if you don't love you and you're not taking care of you, how can you take care of the other things that we need to take care of, our education, our fun, our friendships, our relationships. And so I think it's important not to have a love of self. That's a very, very different situation, but to love ourselves and lead ourselves, like you said, so that we can flourish, because otherwise we can't be good leaders. I can't be a good example to you, right? If I can't even get myself together, if I'm 20 minutes late to every meeting, how do I expect everyone else to be at the meeting?
Yeah.
Just little things like that as well. So I like that you brought that up. That's good.
I find it's super challenging. One, and you hit on this, and I think just for clarity's sake, we'll say it like it's when you talk about loving yourself, it's not it's not like either or. It's not like love yourself or love other people. It's not that, it's both and. And you love yourself and love other people. And I think
Mm-hmm.
there are people who love other people and forget about themselves. And then
Absolutely.
they end up emotionally distressed. They end up physically distressed. They end up hating people eventually because they didn't feel worthy. Or there are people who love themselves so much that they're consumed with them and they will steamroll other people to get the things they want. Both are bad. And so it's like a both and world that we live in.
Yeah.
So like, how do I love others and love myself? And that's a very Jesus philosophy, right?
It is. Yeah. As I was going to say, I was like, I think that the key is really, I think it's so overcomplicated sometimes. And I don't mean that in any kind of like bad way, but I think we all, even as Christians, non-Christians, like we overcomplicate it. It's really pretty simple, and if we align everything the way it's supposed to be aligned, like I said, that's how we're trying very hard to teach our kids is like, serve God first, love God first. If you do those things, the next thing falls in place, that we've got to love ourselves. We've got to, do well for ourselves, take care of ourselves. And then we've got to love other people and serve other people. And I think a lot of it too is in the serving, like the correlation between leadership and serving as in a Christ-like manner, whether you're in a corporate world or not, it's so in line with the way that Christ walked, right? If we would just look at that and we would lead like that, I think we would have some really, really impactful, powerful leaders, because we would be doing all the E's that you said, right?
Yeah. And one of the keys there, I think, is leaders and leading with like, what kind of legacy do you want and everything, right? Like look at Jesus and some of the moments of greatest stress. And there's an episode in, I think it's Mark 6 and Matthew 8, similar story being told. But he's in the middle of trying to find rest, but a large crowd comes. And instead of saying, "Oh, I'm so frustrated, I wanted to be alone," he goes and he serves the crowd. And then after serving that crowd, he's tired. So he sends his followers away, his disciples, into the boat and tells them to cross to the other side of the lake. And I read this just the other day and my wife pointed it out, or she shared the verse. And I was like, when Jesus was walking on the water, he was going to pass by the disciples. And so that was his intent, apparently. And the disciples got scared. So he then turned to them and allowed for the interruption. And over again, Jesus makes space for interruption, and he cares so much about the people that he didn't get angry at the interruption. And I think sometimes that's the mindset that I need to approach more of my life, is I need to be like more okay with interruption because I value people. And it is how we respond to those interruptions that are going to help people see, do we care about them or not? And as leaders, if I care about my people, they will do the projects. They will get the stuff done. But if I care more about the stuff, then my people might not get the stuff done. And it's like, where do you want to go with that?
Yeah, that's such a good, I love that. You probably were speaking that directly to me. That was probably for me today. Yeah, because I think it's easy to get frustrated in the interruptions, right? Because I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do this, right? And I'm blocked off 2 hours in my calendar or whatever, and I'm going to get this thing done. But then bing, bing, bing. And, somebody walks in and the dogs bark and, it's easy to get frustrated, but we're called to be at a different level and to not allow those things to constantly frustrate us, and to learn, because it is a learning process, to navigate that stuff just as Christ did, and just turn around and go, okay, let me deal with this. This is the thing that I need to deal with right now. But that is not an easy task.
No, it's not. And when I was pastoring, I was also teaching. I had both jobs going all the time, and I would get home and I would open up the Bible and the books and start studying. And I made a point, because I said no a lot to things that I wish I wouldn't have said no to. And we have 2 boys and they're in their 20s now. But whenever they would come into the room, I made a decision at one point. I was not going to say no anymore. If they asked for me, I was going to be available. And so
I love that.
they would come up to me and be like, hey, Dad, do you want to? And I would say, yes, I do. And we would go throw the ball. We would go kick something. We would go climb a tree. We would do whatever it was, because I needed them to remember that I loved them more than I loved studying. And I know some people are like, but you got to prepare for preaching. You got to love God. And I said, yeah, but like loving God doesn't mean reading these books and neglecting my kids that he's given me.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I want them to know the love that God has for them can flow in the way that I love them, and it make that connection. So anyway, like when you talk about leadership, is for me, people first. Put people in a position to flourish, and then everything will work better.
Yeah, I agree. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I agree wholeheartedly. So let's go back to one of the questions that we had. How does helping, when you're working with different people on your coaching programs and things like that, how does helping them tell the truth about their work change the way they see themselves and the future? And I know we touched on it a little bit, but I kind of want you to go a little further into that.
Yeah, I wanted to get back to that too. So that works. Perfect. Thank you. Ultimately, telling the truth about themselves, there are lots of ways to get to a particular destination. The most important thing is figuring out where you are right now. And so we have to be honest about where we are right now. And then we have to be honest about the pathways that are available to us to get where we would like to go. And if I can help you identify, okay, here's where I am. I'm currently a teacher. I don't want to be a teacher. I would like to be a customer success representative for one of these companies. Okay, great. Here's where you are. Here's where you would like to be. Then what are the decisions in the liminal space in between that have to get us there? And what I like to do is I like to make a bridge, right? Is like, here's where I am. Here's where I want to be. Here's the bridge. But bridges that don't have support are deadly.
Yes.
So it's like, okay, so what are the pillars that come up underneath these bridges to provide support? So if you want to be customer success, okay, great. Then what are the customer success skills that you have? And then what are the experiences that we can use to underpin that bridge so that we can get there? And then if I have those conversations with you and you begin to say, okay, I've done this and I've done this and I've done this. And then at the end of our conversation, almost every time my clients are like, I'd never thought about that. I didn't realize that I've done all that. They told me the stuff. I didn't make stuff up for them. I can't just say, well, you did this, this, and this. I'm like, no, they told me the things, but then they had never listed. So many of my clients had just never thought about all the stuff they've done. They just were a teacher, or they just were a principal, or they just were an IT specialist. Like, it's like, let's pull those tasks out and find the skills there so that you can frame your story for what you want.
Yeah, I love that. But I wonder, when you were talking, I wonder too, if the reason that we don't know, because I didn't either, but I wonder if the reason that we don't know is because nobody ever told us and we're just doing the thing every day.
I think it's a couple of things. One, nobody ever told us, but then let's be honest, when they told you, you were like, really? Right. And so you need to see it. So we need somebody to make that comparison for us, help us to see the thing. But when you're in the middle of the thing, you don't see it. You're just doing it. You're just doing the job. And unless somebody comes in and says, okay, but when you did this, for example, when you wrote lesson plans for the class, what are the various ways that we could say that? Did you create a curriculum? Well, yeah, I created a curriculum. Okay, great. Did you create learning tools? Yes, I created learning tools. Did you create assessments for evaluation? Yes, I did that. Did you track grades and monitor progress? Yes, then you did data analysis. Like, what software programs did you use? And then we walk through that. And we're like, okay, now you've used these tools, and those tools that serve as data analysis over here serve as customer relationship management over here. It's
Right.
the same process. I just have to help you see that what you did in this one space. And here's one of my favorite things that ever hit me when it comes to careers was the skills that you have, like for teachers, the skills that you have weren't born in the classroom. They were revealed in the classroom, and you take them with you. Those are yours. And so often, whenever people hear that type of thinking, it opens them up to be like, I just thought these were teacher skills. I'm like, no, these are yours. I work with pastors who are like, hey, I want to try and figure some other path out. And I'm like, great. Same thing. Those skills, those aren't pastor skills. Those are your skills.
Right.
Now, you used them as a pastor, but it's all about helping people be honest about their skills, honest about their energies, and then try and figure out, okay, why are you wanting something else? And then what are your non-negotiables? What are the things you know you don't want, which is also really important. If you ever ask that question to somebody, they're like, well, what job do you not want? You're like, oh, I don't know. Well, we need to be real clear. I need to know because we can't be applying for those.
Yeah.
Right. And so there are so many things, but when we help people see those things with clarity, it begins then to create a narrative. This is who they are. This is what they do. This is why they do it. This is how they do it.
Yeah.
And then we can create a storytelling framework for them to position themselves. And I've got one client right now who's really struggling with that part. Super great set of skills, super great accomplishments. Resume is top shelf resume. But every time she talks about it, she's like, but is this the, and I'm like, I wish I could just be like, stop it. like, you have to believe it. If you don't believe it, others won't believe it.
That is so true. And I think sometimes we kind of like paint ourselves into a box, right? And we're in this little box. This is who I am. Like, so, I mean, I've been an admin for over 20 years and I'm good at it. There's a lot of it that I really like doing, a lot of it that I still do for myself, that I still do for other clients that we have. It's enjoyable to me, scheduling appointments and communicating with people and all that. I love it. It's definitely a niche that I have, but is it the thing that I'm supposed to be doing now? Is it the thing that God's called me to do at this season in my life now? To an extent, here and there, but not to be, the admin assistant, because I evolved and I was more equipped and able to finally see what you're saying is that, oh, okay, these skills can transfer over to some other things that would be more beneficial, and not just from a financial standpoint. Of course, that too. I mean, we would all be dishonest if that wasn't a driver, right? But also from a servant standpoint, like, how can I serve better? Like, yeah, I might be really good at scheduling appointments, but could I train someone else to schedule appointments as good as I do? Because there's an art in that. Or could I train someone else to create learning and development better than I do, as good and then further better, and help other people gain those skills so that they can go on and learn what they're supposed to be doing and what their purpose is. And I love, because I think exactly what you guys are doing is finding people's purpose, right? Like I was a teacher, but that's really not, I have the skill set, but that's not really the purpose that I have. And so I think that's really interesting. I think it's a lot of fun. I think you
Yeah.
guys get to meet a lot of different people and really kind of dive deep into who they are and what they've learned, and
Yeah.
then also help them figure out like, okay, well, I still need to learn this. And especially now, with all the hype in AI, and it's helpful. I use it,
Love it.
there's a lot of it that I use and I'm so grateful. It's way easier to do a lot of things,
It too.
but I don't think that it's going to take the leaders away. I think we have to have,
It's not. You mentioned something, and I just want to clarify a little bit on my particular take of something, right? You talked
sure.
about like purpose and kind of finding purpose. And that's one of the challenges that I've had is trying to, so I've almost gone like a different direction to where it's like, I no longer try to help people find a specific purpose. I try to help them live with purpose.
See, I love that.
And
Yeah.
so it's like, instead of like, what is the one thing that you're supposed to be doing? I'm like, that's two up here.
Right.
But instead, can I find purpose in all the things?
Yeah.
Can I make these decisions with intent, and be purposeful in the way that I live my life?
Hmm.
Because, like for me, I am a Christ follower. My overarching purpose is to bring glory to God and love people.
Amen.
Okay, that isn't accomplished by my job. And so I think
No, it
sometimes
could be. It could be to an extent.
one of the ways that I accomplish it, but like, God is glorified in my eating. He's glorified in the way that I drive, whether I'm angry at people in front of me or not, if they don't use their blinkers, like how to operate at home, like all of the things, right?
Yes.
So it's not that jobs don't matter. It's just that I don't think that jobs, for most people, I no longer define job and purpose together. Job is one way to accomplish it,
Agreed.
but it is not it. And
Yeah.
that was a distinction that I had to make because I was a pastor for 20 years. I was a teacher for 12 plus years. And now I'm neither of those things. And I felt like I was a person without purpose.
Yeah.
And what happens if my purpose, like my wife's purpose for a long time, she thought it was just to be a mom. Well, what happens when your kids are out of the house? It's
Yeah.
like, so we have to find something else there, which is also another one of the things that I've loved getting to help people do in my coaching.
Yeah. I love that. And I love that you brought that up because that's so on my heart too. So and not, no secret. I'm sure you've read The Purpose Driven Life. Fantastic book. And there's a lot of really, really great ones, but I'll just speak to that one in particular because when I was going through that, and I used it literally like a workbook, and went through and filled out all the things. And it brought a lot of clarity to me that, okay, not that I didn't know, because I was raised in a Christian home. My father is a preacher too. And so there was a knowledge base there. So I knew that, my purpose is in Christ, but it really, really hit home for me to understand like everything that I am doing in my life, my purpose is to love other people, to love God, serve God, and to have that mission in my life. And the other things that are coming around have to align with that. So, and I go in that direction with it to say, like, if I'm looking for a position, right? If you have one of your people that's looking for a position, and let's hope they're a Christ follower. If a great position comes along and it's $300,000 a year and it looks great and it's shiny, that may not be the thing that we're supposed to do. We really got to dig deep and find out, is this the catalyst? Is this the thing that I can be happy? Because I think it is important to be happy, although that's not the whole premise of life, right? If it doesn't make you happy, it's okay for a little while. But is it going to fulfill the purpose that God has for my life, in that overarching ordained purpose of serving God and serving people, which is kind of brings me to how I got with IOL and how we have that tagline. Because I've been in the corporate world for a long time and it hasn't really been like, it's not been a secret. Oh, she's a Christ follower, anything like that. It's just, you're in the corporate world, things are going, it's just not an everyday, all the time practice in that corporate world. A lot of times even as Christ followers, we find a way to kind of separate, what's going on, because, it may not be acceptable in that world or people may not like it. So when I was kind of branching out and decided to reopen IOL, I've told this story a little bit, but I'll tell it again. Like I really just felt the Holy Spirit was like, I want your tagline to be serve God and serve people. And I'm like, I don't really know it's going to go really well. I don't know how it's going to go. And I was really kind of just going back and forth, kind of like working on my own branding and working on some things that, how was I going to set things up? And I just kind of overwhelmingly had this, like, this is it. This is what you're going to do. And I'm like, I just don't, I'm wrestling and I just hear the Holy Spirit going, if you will just do this, just do this, just do what I'm asking you to do, because this is the purpose that I have you in right now, that I want you to walk through this with me. And so I did. It was kind of like okay, I'm just going to put it in your hands, which is hard for us to do sometimes. Like, we don't always admit that, right? We struggle. We struggle with, okay, well, the world says this, but God's telling me this. And it was so beautiful. And it's a testament now, because literally just had people messaging me message after message after message. Hey, I want to do work with you. I want to do something with you. What can we do together? And I'm like, what? I didn't even know like anybody was going to see anything that I put out there, And so, yeah. And it's not braggadocious at all. It's a true testament to God's faithfulness. Like, if we will listen to what his purpose is for us, if we'll listen to what he's telling us to do, to step out. And it's hard because he's telling it, but I'm arguing it, and going back and forth. So, I think it's so important, the work that you guys are doing and helping people find their strengths and their talents, and maybe even what they might need to get some more education on. You might come to me and you might say, hey, you have A, B, and C, but you really, really need to work on this. You take some courses, there's some online classes to become a better leader, or, have this certification or whatever that might help. So I think it's a really beautiful thing that you guys are doing, and I love it. And it's building more and more good, solid leaders who can lead other people and help encourage other people too, which I love.
Yeah. Ultimately, leadership is about people.
Mm-hmm.
And if we make it about something else, we're probably not being great leaders.
This is so true.
And so, again, helping people identify what are their gaps, what are the ways to fill those gaps? Are those the gaps they want to fill? Because some gaps, just leave them gaps. Yeah. That's not where you want to go. Why does that matter? For me, it doesn't really behoove me to work on my 3-point shot anymore. Would I like to make them? Sure, but I'm not even playing basketball anymore. So that's a gap. I'm just going to leave that one. So again.
Well, we're coming up on time, so I'm going to ask you. So one of my goals in this, since you're the first podcast, one of my goals, I said, I want to ask one question to everybody at the end, the same question, and kind of get their take on things. So the question is going to be this, and we're just going to try it out. When you think about your legacy as a leader, what lasting impact do you hope it has on people?
Question. I think about my legacy as a leader. Well, I hope that people think that I made their lives better. That's the impact that I would like to have, is that life was better when they were with me, when they were around me, when they were near me. I just want to be a person who almost like fills other people's balloons so they can float.
I love that.
And I just really want people to feel that. So yeah, that would be, I think, the thing.
I love that. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you so much for being on with us. Will you tell us how people can find you if they wanted to use your services?
Sure. The easiest way is look me up on LinkedIn. I spend some time there, and then you can go to our website at flight40.com. It's flight, FORTY, not the number, and .com. And Scott Henson and I are happy to work with people in career transition or in leadership and work on personal development, team building, any of it. Because if we can help people flourish, more people flourish.
I love that. And I love how that just flowed right into, what our discussions are and leading. And I'm so grateful for you to be on here. I'm so grateful to learn from you. I think anytime we get to have these conversations, it's a learning experience for me, for sure. And I am so grateful because I think I get to walk into the weekend more energized and a little elevated myself, so that awesome. I can begin to flourish as well. And I look forward to the other stuff that we can hopefully have more conversations in the future. And I pray blessings over your family and the things that you guys are doing as well.
We receive it. So
thank you, Michael. I appreciate you so much. And I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend.
Yeah. Thanks, Amanda. Great being on.